Hello YouTubers, welcome to Caro Tricks. Today I'm vlogging about my views and my thoughts on an African city. If you do not know what that is about, it's a new web series episode online right now. Below in my description box is a link to the series. I'm not actually doing an episode review. I'm vlogging using my mobile phone. So maybe later on when I get a new camera, I might do an individual episode review. I actually felt compelled to vlog on my views and thoughts on the concept of the show, which is an amazing and inspiring show. Before I even praise it more, I'm telling you what the show is about. It's about a group of black westernized women living in America and Europe that went back to Africa, an African city. In their case, they went to Accra. And it's dealing with their life, their career, their adventures. It focuses on the confliction they have between their old Western life and the new African life they're now living. So instantly, I was able to relate to that. For a show like that, not only would that appeal to even Africans in Africa, but also in everywhere as well, but also relate to Europe and even to any other races. So a show like that for me is not just needed, it is overdue. It's a show that is so inspiring, it's very entertaining, it's even positive in terms of the girls. They're well educated, they're articulate, it's fun. It's funny. It doesn't take itself so seriously. It's not preaching something to you. It gives you the reality as it is. It's modern. It's global. It's informing you about life in Africa and right now. And also it's bridging that gap within with the Western life. So a show like that is actually well called for. I just want to give you a gist on how I even get into the show, which was like I was watching a program about hairstyle and I just clicked into it, and I remember watching the first episode, and what happened was that it wasn't even the best, it was just one of the episodes I watched, and I remember it dealing with an issue of relaxing your hair. And when I watched the show, I've just got back from Nigeria. I live in London and I've just got back from Nigeria, and I remember after going for my dad's funeral, and I remember when I was there, because I have natural hair, the girls there were indicating to me, pestering me, "Madam, when are you going to relax your hair? Why don't you relax your hair?" And I remember watching the first episode that I watched, and in that episode the same thing happened, and I was thinking, these people follow me to Nigeria. But what happened is that episode that they had there, whereby they had a girl there pressuring the girl to relax her hair, the same question that was asked in that episode indicated to the girl, "Why don't you relax your hair?" I had that in Nigeria, and that episode was actually filmed in Accra. So it just tells you that this series, they know what they're talking about. They're not preaching anything to you. It's reality as it is. They're telling you the fact as it is. So that immediately just led me to know that this show, they know what they're talking about. Is a show that is actually needed. Now, what is going to something that's actually bugging me seriously regarding the show right now. And the show, I would not want that show to actually lose its momentum. Right now, I wouldn't like a show like this to be scrapped. Or, to be honest with you, I think there should be like a bidding war with this show right now with TV production company like BET, OWN, should be, or any other TV company should be fighting about a show like this right now? Because if they're not, what's their purpose? That's what I'm asking. I mean, this show is about this generation, so a show like this right now is needed. The other thing I actually want to now talk about in regard with this show is that I've got 7 other topics that have arrived from this show and is within the view and thoughts. I'm gonna do it in a part 2 of my view and thoughts, and it's basically about 7 other topics that have come out of it, and I'm just gonna go through a list of it. Where the first one is about the physical aspects, which I will delve into, and it's about the look and the location. I'm just gonna give my view and thoughts about that, and also I'm gonna talk about number 2 is hair. I mean, a black show without hair. Need I say more? The third item I'm gonna be talking about is fashion. I mean, that show just explore a new sort of fashion that in the West we're not used to or we're not aware of. So I'm gonna deal into that and talk more into that. Number 4 is about middle class. So the 1%. I mean, when you see any story about Africa in the West, it's always about the poor Africa. So not anytime have you seen an articulated, represented story about middle class Africa. So a show like this does talk about that 1%. It's probably 5%, I don't know, but is the 1% that of those Africans that they're dealing with. So I'm gonna just talk about that. Number 5 is sexuality. I mean, yeah, we know let's face it, we know that happens. So but there's always like a religious no, don't talk about that, but they dealt with it. So I'm gonna just talk about that a bit more. Number 6, I'm gonna actually talk about the impact of Western going on. I know they didn't really deal with that in more details in the show itself, but I'm gonna just talk about that. I mean, we all know that. I mean, it looks like they were talking about it like in the opposite way. Like they're just talking about as a Westerner going there, but I think they're talking, but they're not even exploring the impact they have, and there's not much positive interaction. I think within the Westerner going there and the African. So I just want to talk a bit more into that. And number 5, I'll just have a final thought, a roundout of everything and my overall view of it. So in the part 2, that's what I'm going to be dealing with. So yeah, so thank you for listening so far into my views and thoughts about an African city. So I see you on the part 2. So have fun. Bye bye.